Vlade Divac was one of the more talented big men in the league in the late 90s and early 2000s. His enormous size, soft touch, and ability to make passes most expected from point guards made him a formidable player. Divac is now the man in charge of the Sacramento Kings and has been for some time. During his tenure, he has become known for drafting big man after big man. People have criticised and made fun of him for this trend, but has it actually had a negative impact on the Sacramento Kings? This video will take a look at the Kings roster to determine how set they are for the future, before taking a look at the big men stocks, and if those draft picks were terrible in hindsight. But before we get into the big men of the Kings, I want to focus on some of their young, strong guards. The Kings have two bright sparks in their backcourt, Darren Fox and Hield, as well as a slightly older weapon in Bogdanovic. Fox and Hield will be key to the future of this franchise, as they are the only young talented guys on the roster who don't play the 4 or the 5. If they don't pan out, then the Kings won't have much talent to balance their roster and will lack the guards needed to set up Bagley and Giles. But I have faith in both Fox and Hield. Darren Fox will be in just his second year after being taken with the 5th pick in the draft last season. Fox is an absolutely lightning fast point guard who is crafty around the hoop, has incredible athleticism, and is a fantastic pick and roll player. Last season, Fox averaged 12 points and 4.5 assists a game on pretty bad shooting percentages. These numbers might not appear to jump out at you, but I don't like to evaluate rookies, especially point guards, on numbers alone. They don't tell the entire story, and what I look for is the skill set, the competitive nature, and whether or not their athleticism and skill stands out at an NBA level. And Fox shines in this regard. The first thing I noticed about Fox, and really everyone notices, is his speed. Fox is lightning quick, and not just quick in an NBA sense, as almost every NBA player is fast compared to your average human. He simply looks faster than every single player on the court. He's in the same category as Westbrook and John Wall when they have the ball. Fox simply glides across the court and can get from one end of the floor to the other in record speed. And not only does he have a great top speed, but he also has fantastic acceleration and deceleration. Fox can change speeds at will, and this will lure defenders in coming up too close to him in transition before he accelerates and blows by them. This will serve him exceptionally well and is more useful for scoring than simple speed. The lightning speed will make him a huge threat in transition as well. Fox loves nothing more than getting downhill and pushing the pace in transition. But last season, the Kings seemed to play quite slow at times, and this was likely due to bigs like Costa Koufos and Zach Randolph sharing the court with him. But from that preseason play, I expect the Kings to really push the pace this year. Fox will be able to collapse defenses in transition or get to the rim, and then he'll have shooters spreading the floor around him, and bigs like Willie Cauley-Stein, Bagley, and Giles trailing behind him for dump-off passes and easy rebounds. In the half court, Fox struggled a little bit more last season. He didn't have a three-point shot and allowed teams to sag off him in pick and rolls and in general. He was still able to get his shot off in these scenarios and at times did look really dangerous. When coming off a screen, defenders cannot be too high up or they'll just get blown by and Fox will be in the paint. But Darren couldn't really make defenders come up to him as he only shot 30% from 3 last season. He recognised this, and over the preseason he's worked entirely on his 3-ball, both off the catch and off the pick and roll as well. And you can see the effects of this in the preseason. Fox has been shooting with confidence and the ball has been going in. Last year, he would frequently hesitate when he caught the ball and he wasn't fluid in his shooting. Now, as soon as he catches the ball and is open, he pulls up from deep. Fox has also been pulling up in pick and rolls when his defender goes under the screen, and he has been nailing them. If he can keep this up and be consistent with his 3-ball this season, he'll become an incredibly dangerous player. I fully expect him to make this leap and be a really dangerous guard and the driving force for the Kings offense this season. And alongside Fox will be Hield, a very different kind of guard to Fox, but almost the perfect complementary player next to him. Buddy is an off-ball mover with one of the best 3-balls in the entire league. Last season he scored 13.5 points a game in just 25 minutes and shot a spectacular 43% from deep. This kind of production was good considering how little space the Kings had on the court and the fact that Hield was with the bench unit. This unit had very few ways to draw doubles and Hield rarely got easy looks unless he created them himself. This year Buddy will be 25 years old and beginning to enter what should be his prime, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him take his 3-point shooting to 45% or just take more of them. What I really hope is that Hield sees more time on the court with the starters and would even like him to start overall. The Kings have previously brought him off the bench to be a scorer, but I think that him and Fox sharing the court together would be more beneficial. Hield would help provide spacing for Fox, and Darren would collapse defenses and kick the ball out to an automatic wide open Buddy. Hield loves to run baseline off screens in order to get open and will benefit from playing with Bagley and Giles, who are both good screen setters and threats. But Buddy is more than just a 3-point shooter. He can attack off the dribble and get to the glass to make plays there as well. And once it gets there, he has a thick and strong frame that allows him to finish through contact. He is also a decent passer, and when surrounded by better players, he will dump it off to them to score. Being Hield's third year in the league, he'll be more comfortable and used to what occurs on the court, and should be able to do some serious scoring damage. And he'll be flanked by the other shooting sniper, Bogdanovic. Bogdanovic was a rookie last year, but he's 26 years old and very experienced as a player. As he adjusted to the NBA, he got better and better and ended up shooting 40% from 3 and scoring 12 points a game. The only problem is that Bogdan is also 6'6", and it might be tough to play him and Hield on the court for extended periods of time. For this reason, Justin Jackson will end up starting at the small forward most likely, as a versatile offensive player who defends with effort and has good size. Jackson is also young, and these four guys should develop into solid players on the wings and at the point for the Kings. Fox and Hield are definitely the most talented and have the highest potential, but watch out for Jackson and Bogdanovic this season, who will contribute every game also. Then we arrive at the big fellas, where the Kings have a huge range of players. From Zach Randolph and Costa Koufos to Marvin Bagley, Harry Giles, Skal Labissiere, and Willie Cauley-Steins, the Kings have young and old big men. I think that Randolph and Koufos will get minimal minutes this year if the Kings are smart. They simply need to get as many minutes into Bagley, Giles, and Cauley-Stein in order to evaluate them as soon as possible, because the Kings have a decision to make regarding Cauley-Stein. He becomes a restricted free agent at the end of this year, and a team might make him a good-sized offer. He's an extremely athletic player who can catch lobs, set screens, and rebound. Plus, his athleticism and defensive instincts make him one of the better young defensive big men in the league. Teams that just have good wings and guards will be lining up to try and sign Willie, and the Kings might not have the role for him in order to justify a big contract. If Giles and Bagley develop well, then they will want to split minutes at the centre in order to minimise how often they share the court and go big at the 4 and 5. If these guys show that they have what it takes to start the season, then I wouldn't be surprised to see the Kings trade Willie for a pick or another young player. Or they might simply buck the trend of the league and commit to playing big at the 4 and 5 and try to outsize every other team in the NBA. Watching Cauley-Stein's minutes this season will be interesting in order to figure out the direction of the Kings. I really hope that we see Bagley and Giles get good minutes out of the gate this season, as the two of them look like the most talented big men that the Kings have had since DeMarcus Cousins. Both are of good size and are exceptional athletes, but more importantly, they are both very skilled players and could get away with sharing the floor together. Harry Giles was the #1 player in his high school at one point, but was brought down by injuries and had hardly played basketball before he was drafted. But the Kings took a risk when drafting him, and it has paid off. In the preseason and summer league, Giles looked like the real deal on both ends of the court. Harry has a fantastic idea of where to be on the basketball court, when to set screens, when to get the ball at the elbow, when to pass, and when to shoot. He looks more like a 5-year veteran out there than a rookie, and so do his skills. Giles has been hitting mid-range jump shots, hook shots, and taking his man off of the dribble to get to the rim. He's also shown the ability to pass to cutters and open shooters, and has good chemistry with Marvin Bagley, who he has shared the court with for most of his minutes. On the defensive end, he has been very active, and has shown good shot blocking ability as well as timing with his contests. He has also the quickness to guard some 4s and uses his length well to recover when he is beaten. When they drafted Giles, the Kings would have expected him to contribute in a few years, if at all. It was simply a huge risk to his injury history, but had a lot of upside. But now he appears healthy, and if he stays this way, he will develop into the Kings' power forward/centre of the future. A spotlight he will share with Marvin Bagley. Bagley was the Kings' #2 draft pick and is extremely quick, lean, athletic power forward or centre who can handle the ball, score and rebounds very well considering his lean frame. There is no denying Bagley's offensive talent and athleticism. If given the ball and enough space, he will take his defender off the dribble or in the post and get to the basket for a hook or a layup. He's also relentless on the offensive glass, and due to being a bit leaner and springier, he can come back for the offensive rebound even when he shoots the ball. Bagley will take a little bit of time to adjust to the NBA before he can truly feel his potential. This is because he will want to shoot threes and dribble the ball in order to become a versatile inside and outside threat. It is vital that he develop into this kind of player for the Kings so that their spacing can enter the world of the modern NBA. Without it, they'll be hoping that Giles and Bagley can coexist on the inside and not get burnt on the other end. It's for this reason that if I was the Kings, I would have snapped off Doncic instead of Bagley at number 2. Not only do I think he is a better player, but even if it was dead even between them, Luka simply fit their roster so much better than Bagley. He would have slotted in at the 3 and been able to be another ball handler who could shoot, rebound, push the pace, and defend his position. It would have also allowed for the Kings to keep Cauley-Stein, find easy minutes for Giles, and even potentially Labissiere, who they also really like. But it all fits into the trend of Vlade Divac drafting and being obsessed with finding a talented big man. He cannot seem to resist them, and has taken big men in the first round in almost every single draft since he has been at the Kings. Now, many fans think this will ruin the Kings, but I don't think it necessarily will. In the end, finding elite talent is what is the most important factor in winning. Even though this roster is slightly clogged with big men, they have 2 great ones in Bagley and Giles. When you combine this with Hield and Fox, you get a very solid core going forward. The Kings will simply have to trade some of the others and try not to sign any of them to bad contracts, and pray that they don't draft any more big men. After this, they can focus on getting shooters to complement Fox, Hield, Giles and Bagley, and then they might be able to make the playoffs for the first time since that golden Chris Webber era. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications as well. And let me know in the comments what you think of the Kings' future.